What's up, guys? This is Kalo, and normally I'm here to give you the lowdown on all things gaming, but we are back for yet another episode of Game Sandwich Presents Hot Topic because we got some interesting news to talk about today. But first of all, it's a three-person episode today because the news is that big. First up, I'm joined by John Hanson. Why don't you say what's up?
What's up?
And last but not least, I've prepped you now. Aiden, why don't you say what's up?
Hi.
Oh, I was expecting something bigger. You got to do a flip one of these episodes.
I do know how. I took gymnastics.
Oh, you got no excuse now. But we got a little controversy surrounding a little thing called the Game Awards, and it's no stranger to controversy. But this pertains to Game of the Year. Now, I'm going to tell you guys, you know these nominees here. But for Game of the Year, we have Astrobot, Balatro, is that I'm saying it right? Balatro, Black Myth Wukong, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, Metaphor Refantasio, and Elden Ring, Shadow of the Erdtree, a DLC.
One of these things is not like the other.
It's Balatro.
Yeah, plot twist. Just divert your eyes. So we're here.
About poker.
It's all. Does Solitaire, could that be up for Game of the Year? I'd like that.
Yeah.
Should DLC be up for Game of the Year? That is the debate today. I'm just going to put it out there. No, I don't think Shadow of the Erdtree should be in this category. Aiden has differing opinions. That's why we're on Hot Topic. So, Aiden, I'm going to give you the floor first before we beat you into the ground for this. What say you?
I mean, I just have the argument that enough time went into it and enough care went into it that's basically the equivalent of an actual game. I mean, yes, I get that you have to have the base game. But, I mean, really, come on. Give a comparison to any other game on that list, and you tell me that Shadow of the Erdtree does not match it in, like, size, scope, amount of playtime, everything. It more than matches with everything.
Size, scope, and playtime doesn't make a Game of the Year, though. Otherwise, we would have something... Huge RPGs would be the only thing winning it every single year.
I mean, I agree with you on that one. I agree with you, because, like, a good 10-hour game can still be a good game. But I'm just saying, like, size, scope-wise, it's not like something like... And, yeah, I'll throw Forspoken under the bus, but it's not like Forspoken where it takes, like, an hour and a half to beat it, and they put a half-assed job into it. They used their full ass on this.
The whole thing. I guess my gripe on this all, whenever I think Game of the Year as a casual perspective, not someone who's just all about games 24/7, Game of the Year on the surface sounds like a game that was created from the ground up in that year. It was just, that's it. Like an Astrobot, like a Black Myth Wukong. And then when I think about other games that could be in this place, like Stellar Blade, I'm just like, man, you talk about one of these things is not like the other. Of course, you need Elden Ring that came out in 2022. Like, it's just that aspect of it. And grant you, Game Awards is not the end-all be-all. But when you're presenting as the most prestigious award show here, especially the thing that got me over the weekend is when they released that FAQ page that said, just in case, hey, DLC and all this could be up for consideration, when it never was. That FAQ page was not there. It's a little sketchy. Just a little bit.
Well, they just definitely knew that this conversation was coming.
Oh,
and
yeah.
They tried to get ahead of it, but it was such a... I don't know. I think it would have been better if, like, Jeff Keighley would have said something about it, like, during the announcement. Just like, hey, this is why we're allowing this. This wasn't me choosing it, even though he's had such a hard-on for Elden Ring, because he's the one that was able to reveal it and everything. Yeah, I'm with you on the... if you have to have a game to access the Game of the Year, that doesn't really make much sense to me. I've never played either. I'm never going to play either. Someone can't just come up to me and it's like, hey, John, you need to play Shadow of the Erdtree. I'm like, oh, okay, let me just go buy that. I don't know what Elden Ring is. I've never heard of it. I'm just gonna go jump into Shadow of the Erdtree. Well, I have to play Elden Ring. I have to buy Elden Ring, and then I have to play. How many hours do you have to play of Elden Ring before you can play Shadow of the Erdtree? Because it's not a thing that you can just start it from the main
Depends
menu.
on how good you are. But if you're like, let's say you're not good, you're probably gonna put like 50 hours into it, maybe 60 or something before you can actually beat the boss that
Oh
you need
man,
to be
gotta
able to
tell ya.
into the DLC.
Yeah, that accessibility is what we love about our game of the years.
It's up for like most accessible game.
Yeah.
That's a whole nother category.
Yeah, I think that argument's very good. And also just the whole fact that Elden Ring has already won a Game of the Year. Like, do we really want a game to have 2 Game of the Year awards? I think that sets a weird precedent, because what if From Software, just for whatever reason, what if they come out with another DLC expansion next year?
I mean,
And then that game
do it.
and then that game becomes a Game of the Year contender. Like, where does it stop? I just don't like the whole precedent behind this. I want original games to be in contention for Game of the Year. This is all solved if the Game Awards just makes a best DLC / best expansion category.
Can
Like,
I throw this
all of
back
that,
at you?
all of this is
something
solved.
that is quote unquote from you, a brand new experience game. Is a remake then considered? Huh?
I'm
Are
against
you
that.
talking about Final Fantasy?
Yeah, because that's
Yes.
another argument that a lot of people have been making is that Final Fantasy isn't deserving because it's a remake.
Absolutely, it's essentially a new game. Like,
I mean,
those
I agree
games,
with you on that one.
Resident Evil 2, the same way. Those are new games. Anyone that says that that is the same experience is fucking stupid. Okay, like, they don't know what they're talking about.
I could make the argument for Resident Evil because they are very similar, but Final Fantasy.
No, they're not. Completely different play styles. Resident Evil is a completely different play style. The only thing that's the story is somewhat similar. That's it. No, they are completely
I've never played
different.
the original of either one of them, so I couldn't tell you. But
I'll die on the sword. I'm in the middle on that only for the fact these remakes are built off the bones of what came before. And I think my thing is, and I'm viewing it as black and white, and I know it's more nuanced than that, but Astrobot, built from the ground up, it's like a second entry. Boom. Great. Have a great day. But, like, we've seen Final Fantasy VII countless times. There was a remake. No, there was a remaster. Then the remake. Is that the right sequence here?
No, it was just remake in 2020 and then rebirth this year.
Which is the continuation of remake.
There we go.
Yeah.
So I guess that's my gripe with it too. It's like, you know the story, you know what happens, you're just getting a reflavoring of it, and it's like
hold on, real quick. Even in that context, one of the biggest complaints about Final Fantasy VII Remake was that the story was changed. Like, they've been doing new things.
Yeah, they brought in a whole new thing with like the Arbiters of Fate and all that. That wasn't in the original game.
As I've been calling them in my Final Fantasy VII Remake stream on Twitch and YouTube, Game Sandwich, check it out. They're the Dementors. They weren't in the original game.
They're the Final Fantasy Dementors. It's okay.
Yeah.
I've never seen an argument where, like, I'm chasing myself in a circle, where it's like, all right, if Shadow of the Erdtree just dropped as Shadow of the Erdtree, no Elden Ring name behind it, whatever, game this year, that would be up for Game of the Year, without a question. At least I think.
I'd be fine with that. Yeah. If it was its own standalone game, if it was like a spin-off thing, I'd be completely fine with that. The problem is, it's not. It's Elden Ring, Shadow of the Erdtree.
It's so... Oh, my gosh. It's so weird. I don't know. And let's just say, out of these games mentioned, who do you... Does Shadow of the Erdtree take home Game of the Year?
There's potential for it.
I mean, I call it as yes, it's going to. from my perspective, I don't personally, I'm not going to vote for it.
Hmm.
I'm Final Fantasy all the way, just
Okay.
because it's my favorite game. But I foresee it winning, and I feel like the only reason it won't is because enough people are raising a whole stink about them not liking that it's game in the year potential because it's a DLC.
Well, the problem with that is the fan vote only accounts for about 10% of the Game of the Year
Oh yeah,
vote.
I forgot about that.
So we're mostly relying on the media outlets that have been voting to nominate all of these. Um,
Yeah, but I mean, if you raise enough awareness, they might change their ideas on it. I don't know.
nah.
I I want to read right now, like the that little FAQ thing. It says the Game Awards aims to recognize the best creative and technical work each year, irrespective of the format of that content's release. Expansion packs, new game seasons, DLCs, remakes, and remasters are eligible in all categories, if the jury deems the new creative and technical work to be worthy of a nomination. So it's like they're sliding in new seasons, DLCs, like expansion packs. What's the difference between an expansion and DLC? Am I just
Well,
stupid there? Or is that a whole
that's
other can of
always
worms?
Just what they
that.
call it.
I think what they're so it doesn't. There's really no difference
Yeah.
between DLC and expansion. I guess the big comparison you can make is an expansion is a big. It's a Shadow of the Earth Tree DLC where it
Yeah.
is a massive add-on, where a DLC could just be like horse armor.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's probably the best argument. But see, John, I will throw this over to you. That's where I think the bad precedent gets set is
Mm-hmm.
when they say
Oh,
it's
I agree
going to
with you
be
there.
expansion, season pass, everything. Like if you're going to talk about seasons and everything being added in there, where does it draw the line where eventually it becomes, oh, now we can add battle passes to this,
Mm-hmm.
or now we can add
Yeah.
whatever. And it's
Yeah,
like at that point, I'm like, what the hell?
they're trying to leave room. They're trying to leave like open room for themselves to be able to say, "Hey, yeah, no, anything is available for Game of the Year," but not everything should be available for Game of the Year. Like
Yeah.
I was in a really cool party chat with my friends the other day. Let's put that in for Game of the Year. Like, where are we
Yeah.
stopping this? This is supposed to be the most prestigious award for the Game Awards. The big thing. This is the thing the show ends on every year. This is the thing that we get the Rabbi Bill Clinton thing with. Maybe we'll get a second act of that now that Elden Ring is going to try and win it again. It just you're trying to in inclusion is great, but we need to exclude games and lesser content because the way they have it right now, if I really wanted to run a campaign for like all of the media sites to just make a joke entry for next year's Game of the Year, it potentially could happen. I could just go up to them and be like, "Hey, this Fortnite dance, I want that to be Game of the Year." And like,
Yeah.
if enough voters put that in as the Game of the Year, it technically could happen.
The gritty is the game of the year in Fortnite. I need it.
Yeah.
I need it. Oh, it's also like I hope Sam Lake does another dance. That's what I want. Uh,
But
he won't. I know. He's very
that's
entertaining.
my Game of the Year.
Yeah. See, like that's the thing with like all of this Game Awards nonsense. It's like this is the list, the official list, but my Game of the Year could be different from yours to Aiden's. It's all over
Yeah.
the place. Like it's
Oh, yeah.
subjective. That's all it is. Like people
My
got
personal Game of the Year isn't on this list. Like, it's completely fine, but it's just the Game Awards wants to be. I'm not going to call it the most prestigious award show because it's not. Probably the DICE Awards are, but it's definitely the one that the public knows about the most.
yeah.
So it's got that public facing content. It gets all the ads. It gets all of the support from all these big companies. It just kind of lessens the impact when you throw a DLC in there.
I agree with you on that one. I mean, it does lessen the impact. I think Elden Ring did an amazing job with Shadow of the Earth Tree. I really do think that From Software made it good enough that it actually is like another game. But I mean, I would love to see the Game Awards change their perspective on it and instead just shift it over to, like you've talked about, like it being a standalone title specifically for Game of the Year, and then maybe for stuff like Elden Rings, like for the Shadow of the Earth Tree and everything, do something that encompasses everything else. Like maybe just best creative work or something,
Mm,
or maybe a like best DLC expansion
Best
season, blah blah
DLC
blah. Lump
expansion makes the most
everything that's
sense.
like a
yeah.
add-on content thing together, you know? Like best add-on content.
Let's just be real here. The categories by themselves aren't perfect anyway.
No.
They'll never be perfect because that's impossible with video games. Like if you look at the best action and the best RPG sections, like you can make uh you can make arguments in both of those categories for some of those games being in other areas.
Hmm.
Games are just too big now. There's too much going into them. Every game has RPG mechanics. I can say that The Legend of Zelda is an RPG when really it's an action adventure. I'm not dismissing that Shadow of the Earth Tree is a great experience. I'm not saying that at all. But I 100% agree that we need to have a best DLC slash expansion category. Um, I'm not sure if there's any games that are that are just being snubbed for Game of the Year right now that I'm like, absolutely, that should have been in there, and Shadow of the Earth Tree stole that spot. But a game like Silent Hill 2, I think at least could have been in the discussion.
I mean, I think that's like Space Marine 2 should have been in there.
Yeah.
Personal.
Wild card. I mean, to me, just looking at this list now, it almost makes me think there was something else there, and then they were like, let's sub that out. It's
That's
a
not how it works.
I know, but like wild shot here in the dark because of how much it was talked about and how much it took over. Pending legal issues, Pal World. I don't know. That's too. I know it's too small to be Game of the Year, but like, that's an example of a game that caught fire. It's brand new. Throw that in there.
We've got a poker game that is in contention for Game of the Year. It's not too small.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
there it is. Pal World for Game of the Year. Stuff the ballot box right now. You can't even submit.
I think so for that one. I do wish that they would update their wording to be something along the lines of any original game that has reached its 1.0 full release. Something along those lines. I would like
Yeah.
that to be the wording because Pal World is in early access. Shadow of the Earth Tree is not its own game. Yeah, I don't like early access games in Game of the Year contention. I don't like DLCs. I don't like remasters, but I will take remakes if they are changed up enough.
Yeah.
Final Fantasy and Resident Evil both fit those because they completely change up the gameplay and they change up the story quite a bit as well. Like those are different experiences. I don't care what you say; those are different games from the originals. Yeah, so I would like a little more firm language around it, but we know how Jeff Keighley is. He's not gonna push away his friends, and we know From Software is his friends.
I find it funny. Like, there was definitely a meeting about this because they released that FAQ page, and he's like, no, this is the best route moving forward. We're not going to add another, like, subcategory. I feel like that could have been done, like, easily.
No, we gotta have best esports stuff in there. The things that no one knows about.
Hey,
That's-
there are people who know esports. We're just not them.
yeah,
We're not.
esports
Yeah.
is heavy, but,
That are not put in a best horror category.
and Game Sandwich
Yeah.
isn't in any of the categories. That's my only problem.
Yeah, where are we for best content creator?
Game Sandwich
Yeah.
Discord for Game of the Year.
Imagine.
Yeah.
Imagine. But all right, I'll ask you guys. What is your game of the year that's not on this list? What is, or if it is, it is.
Our personal game of the year,
Yeah.
Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown.
Ooh.
Okay, you know what? I'm just gonna throw out two of them. Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. That's my one that's on the list. If you take one off the list, I'm going to say Dragon's Dogma 2.
Yeah,
Very
my pick for
nice.
what's on the list is probably Astrobot.
I'm right there. Astrobot for me. Sonic X Shadows Generations. Let's just push that propaganda more.
That one not getting any nominations is wild.
Maybe next year. Maybe it made the quota for next year. I don't know how they do any of this stuff.
The cutoff is this Friday. It had to be out by this Friday.
Oh, so then we're December 12th. We're going to watch live to see if the internet catches fire with this announcement for Game of the Year. But do we have any more thoughts about this show in general? Do we have any wild predictions?
Really quick, is there any world where Black Myth Wukong is able to beat out Shadow of the Earth Tree for Game of the Year? Do you see a world where a very obviously Souls-inspired game actually beats From Software in Game of the Year?
I want to say yes. I didn't play Black Myth Wukong. It's been on my I want to play it list, but haven't gotten the chance to play it yet. I want it to win because of how popular it became and how it sold like millions upon millions of copies. Like, real, and it broke records too. Like, I feel like it is deserving because of that, but I also don't feel like it would actually beat out a Souls game, like, or like a From Software game.
Of all these games, because Shadow of the Earth Tree is there, I think Black Myth Wukong has the least chance of winning this award. Like, I would put Balatro in front of it.
Really?
Its chances. Yeah, Balatro is a very good game. I'm making jokes about it being a poker game. It's more than that. It is a very fun game.
Yeah. I would like to see Black Myth Wukong pull out the win. Small team, kind of just out of left field. Good story. But that, to me, if it does win, it'll feel like a pivot. I don't know. I just think Elden Ring wins. That is just my gut feeling. I want Astrobot, but Black Myth Wukong would be nice.
I mean, they go off of reviews too, don't they?
For who wins?
Like,
no.
Yeah, I thought they based it partially on like what review scores actually say about it. Because if you base it off of that in the slightest,
there are many other games that should be
Black
here.
Myth Wukong, by all means, has a 4.5 out of 5 from fan audience, like from audience score, 8s out of 10 otherwise, or 6s for some sites. I mean, you look at Shadow of the Earth Tree, and it's got like 9 out of 10, 9 out of 10, 10 out of 10. People saying it's just as good as the base game and everything. So that is my main reason why I think it's just not going to beat it out, because too many people said more positive things about Shadow of the Earth Tree than they did Black Myth Wukong, despite Black Myth Wukong like way outselling it.
I would have liked to see Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth in that spot. That's another one that's out there that I thoroughly enjoyed. But we're not here to care about what I think. We want to know what you think. What is your personal game of the year? And out of the nominees, what is the game of the year you think actually wins the award? And do we get, final question, do we get anything crazy? I'm talking announcements, someone rushes the stage. Do you think anything like that happens?
No one's gonna rush the stage. Like,
no, Bill Clinton kid.
Jeff Keighley isn't gonna let that happen for a third time. Announcements. I mean, maybe.
I don't think there's anything.
I mean,
like GTA trailer, maybe.
Nah.
Yeah, I think there's potential for a Borderlands 4 trailer.
I'll take
really,
that.
I do. I mean, they're getting close to a release in the summer, probably. So.
What? There's no other game.
Maybe not gameplay trailer, but at least cinematic trailer, just to show maybe the Vault Hunters or something like that.
The Nintendo Switch 2 gets revealed.
I was just gonna say that. What if Nintendo was just like, "Hey, look at this"? Nah, they would never do. They would not pull a Phil Spencer.
Well,
yeah, they won't do it.
Yeah, Jeff Keighley would also not be able to contain himself on social media. He would have to say like, "There's gonna be something massive at the Game Awards," but no.
Well, he's gonna say that regardless, no matter what's there.
And it's like
he's like, "This is gonna be the greatest show you've ever seen. The Game Awards 2024. We are making it bigger, badder than ever." And then he's like, "Here's a peanut butter sandwich."
I'm gonna bring it out of left field here and just be like, and I'm gonna make my pipe dream call here and just be like, okay, From Software's work, like, parent company said they're working on 20 new console titles. From Software is obviously working on stuff. Bloodborne 2 announcement.
Ooh.
It's
Hollow
not gonna
Knight.
happen.
Hollow Knight. We need it. It has.
Although Sony is apparently trying to buy From
Yeah.
Software's parent company. Yeah.
So I could see it. I could see it. I doubt it, but I could see it.
No, it's way too early.
We need to make it through this Game Awards with a Hollow Knight 2 Silk Song announcement. I think it's. I always say it. It's due time.
I will say there is a chance it gets the announcement, and it's available now.
Ooh, there we
That
go.
would be a shadow drop like that. That'd be crazy.
That's a mic drop moment, and what better way to end it right there for this episode of Hot Topic. If you want to talk more about video games, join our Discord. Links to that is all in the video description down below. Follow our social medias. We're doing gaming news, reviews, pretty much anything covering games. We're doing it here at Game Sandwich. And subscribe to this here YouTube channel for more hot takes and just fun videos. They're really fun. Check them all out. But as of right now, I've been Kalo, joined by John and Aiden, and we'll see you guys next time. If you enjoyed today's debate or want your weekly dose of gaming news content, consider subscribing to Game Sandwich for content just like this. And we'll see you guys next time.